RawFuelTV is sponsored by Wheelsport, your snowmobile, motorcycle, and ATV specialist.
Okay, now that we've got the last spring, simply going to grab the base of the muffler. We're going to lift that up out of the hole that it resides in. That's going to allow the top to pull away. And just like that, the old suitcase is out of there. Alright, now that we've done that, we can see that this here is the oil filter housing. This is our exhaust pipe. We want to be cautious just with this, the exhaust seal here, the exhaust donut. Just make sure not to ruin that or scar that up too much. And actually what we could probably do just for its own safekeeping, just simply slide that out. We're going to put that back with the exhaust just to keep them all intact. And then we're going to remove these 3 bolts off of the oil filter housing. And that'll be it for this one. So the cap's going to pull off, and we want to keep this oil filter ring, the O-ring here, in nice shape. So we're going to end up cleaning that off, so we definitely don't want to go and bang that up. Next up is the oil filter. You might be tempted to use your fingers. That's probably not going to work all that wonderful. Just take a flathead screwdriver. You'll pop the old one back out. And then with that, we're just going to use our hands. I'm going to lift this filter out. Remember, it's going to drip a bit. We've got it rolled into our cloth that we had sitting in the bottom of the belly pan, and we're going to dispose of this according to local regulations. So let's take a look down here. What do we see? There's still a little bit of residual oil down in this hole, and we're just going to want to clean that out a little bit, get that ready to accept the new filter. We're going to notice that this filter has a sealing surface. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip our finger into the brand new oil jug that we've got. And what we're going to come out with, this is some fresh oil. We're just going to coat this seal both inside and out. And that's going to mate up perfectly when we put this back in. She is going to go back in. We're going to put a little bit of pressure on it just to seat that flat. So now that we've got that seated, we are going to take our cover. We're going to make sure that our cover is spotless and clean. We're going to just take our finger, we're going to dip it into the oil jug. We're just going to coat that the sealing surface of this seal. And it is ready to be assembled. Alright, so we got the cover back on. It's going to take a bit of a push just to get it to seat properly. We're going to take our 3 bolts, and we're just going to line those all up by hand. That way we know everything is straight. I'm just going to tighten these down by hand. Each one of these bolts is going to be tanked down to about 9 foot-pounds. So you're going to get out your torque wrench, you're going to tighten these down to 9 foot-pounds, and from here we're going to reinstall the muffler. First thing to get the muffler installed is we've got to put this donut back on that we had taken off. Now we are going to go in reverse order of how we took the muffler off. We're going to throw the muffler in. We're going to start with the base. We're just going to slide the base in. Once the exhaust outlet is basically in, the next piece that needs to be lined up is the header pipe into the muffler itself. Once we've got that in place, we drop the exhaust outlet portion in through the hole. And the next thing that has to be hooked up is there's on the back of the muffler, about midway, there's a little kind of clamp. It looks a little bit like this, and it's going to fit inside a rubber grommet. So it's going to go inside, not over it, but inside of that rubber grommet. And that's going to all stick in place. It's nice and tight now. Okay, so once you get the 2 top header to muffler springs, just ensure you get these, the 2 side ones. Number 1. And number 2. So the muffler is back in place. All we've got to do is put on the side cover. We're back in business. All right, next step in this process is we're going to grab our drain bolt with our T45. We're going to take some new fresh oil. We're just going to coat our O-ring here. And that's good to go. This drain bolt is going to get torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to get it snugged up here and then we're going to torque it down. All right, now that we got that down to 22 foot-pounds, we're going to take our T30, we're going to rotate our guillotine back in place. You can just see that sliding back in place. We're going to line up the bolt hole. Put in our bolt. And next step from here, we're going to put in our oil. Next step in the process, we're going to remove our belt guard. It's going to be out of the plate. Remove our dipstick, and we're going to put in approximately 3.5 liters or 3.7 quarts into this. Now remember, we're going to fire up the machine. We're going to allow that oil to circulate in through the oil filter. And after we've done our oil fill up, we're going to check the oil just to make sure we're in the right vicinity. All right, now we've let our sled run for 30 seconds to a minute or so. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the dipstick. We're going to wipe that dry. We're going to reinsert our dipstick completely into the filler tube. We're going to remove it again. And we can see there that our oil is perfectly right at the max line. And that is exactly where we want it to be. So what we're going to do now is we are going to start to button everything back together. Okay, so at the end of the day, we've changed the oil here. It really didn't take all that long. By removing that drain bolt right away, made more of a mess than I probably needed to. But that being said, we got the oil changed out. We've got a new filter put in there. We're going to check for leaks on this gem, make sure that there's no issues. But now that I've got the hood and the cowling and whatnot off, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go and cruise around through the machine. I'm going to give it its fall check over, just make sure we're ready to go for the season. But you know what? You don't have to bring this stuff to the dealer necessarily. This is something that you can get done yourself. And if you just take your time and do it properly, it's going to all work out. And you should be good to go. So until the next time, see you out on the trails. Whoo, that's hot. If you enjoy these videos, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, or check us out at www.RawFuelTV.com.